Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scared Shitless. This is a horror retrospective, the show where we collect horror media like a Christmas themed Germanic demon, stuffing families into snow globes and putting them on its shelf. I am Ryan and I am joined by none other than jolly old Saint Ali.
Merry Christmas, YouTubers.
Well, it is Christmas. We hope you are having a good festive season. And today we are going to be discussing Krampus, a 2015 Christmas horror based on the legend of the Germanic festive demon Krampus. Written by Todd Casey, Michael Doherty, and Zach Shields, and directed by Michael Doherty, who, by the way, Ali, this is his second appearance on a horror retrospective, because Michael Doherty also made Trick or Treat. So it's also
awesome.
our second holiday episode, and it's the second one by him. So he is
awesome.
He is currently 100% of our holiday movies at this given point.
Yeah, well, we enjoyed Trick or Treat, so
we did. So the film stars Adam Scott, Toni Collette, David Koechner. I may be ruining his name, but is also his second appearance on the show, as he was in Final Destination 5. MJ Anthony, Conchata Farrell, Krista Stadler, and Alison Tolman. Krampus is the story of a boy who, after having a bad Christmas, accidentally summons a festive demon to take his family. So Ali, what did you think of it?
I actually enjoyed it. It took me a couple minutes to get into the actual gist of it all, not the gist that I didn't realize it was a Christmas horror film. Obviously, it took a little bit to maybe go for about 10 minutes, about 10, 12 minutes to get from the first act to really get into the gist of what they were going for. But as a whole, I did enjoy this film. I didn't think I was going to, because I'm not really a horror Christmas person. But no, this is one of these films that I would definitely watch again, especially during this festive period.
It is a very festive. It is a festive, fun movie. I quite enjoyed it myself. Yeah. I've got to say, it genuinely is. One of my other favorite Christmas horrors is you can't see it, but my Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. I love. I love Home Alone, at least the original two, and I swear to God, those movies have to be a prelude to Saw, because Kevin in those films is a little psychopath. But we can discuss them another
time.
Yeah. So I love the opening for Krampus. I love that it opens in this shopping mall with everyone running about crazy, like trampling each other. Christmas decorations everywhere, Christmas trees, and it's playing Bing Crosby. It's beginning to feel a lot, and like that Christmas is such a good opening. It instantly, Bing Crosby. He is Christmas music. You know what I mean? If you hear Bing Crosby, that's he is Christmas music. And this song with this kind of rampage happening for toys, it actually reminded me somewhat of the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Jingle All the Way. They're all going crazy. But I thought it was very good, and it sounded great. It looked great. It was a very it's a very well directed film. The cinematographer has done a great job. So what did you think of you didn't quite get into the opening. You said it took you a wee while to actually get into it.
Yeah, it took me a wee while to get into it. Put my hand up there. But as soon as I did get into it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But on a personal note, and we have done this to certain characters in films that we've reviewed on this channel. The extended family, you just wanted to punch the living hell out of them. And in my personal opinion, I really wanted bad stuff to happen to them.
So that's kind of how it is. So it's Max is this kid, and his sister is Beth, and you can tell they maybe used to get along, but don't necessarily anymore.
Yeah, something's happened to them in the last couple of years.
The mum and dad are maybe having a tough time, but you know, and then the extended family comes, and they're not very pleasant. You know,
no, they're not.
Their cousins are kind of dicks.
The aunt is the only one that's actually quite nice. You know.
Yeah. They're not pleasant, and you can tell that, you know, they don't really want to be spending time together. You know, they're spending time together because they feel they have to. It's Christmas, you know, that's what you do. You spend time with your family, and you know, it's but they're not people who would necessarily choose to spend time with one another out with that. And you kind of got the vibe that they don't necessarily like each other, but they still try to care for each other. And then Max obviously having a tough time. His cousins read his letter to Santa Claus, and Max essentially wishes that his family would get taken away.
Get cursed. He cursed them all.
And Krampus shows up, and creepy shit ensues. So, I mean, what it actually reminded me of, and this is the second time I'm mentioning Home Alone in this review,
go for it.
Kevin in Home Alone wished that his family would go away, and he woke up to them having left them, thinking they had disappeared. Max wishes his family would go away, and Christmas Demon turns up to take his family away. So it's almost Home Alone, but take away the burglars and booby traps and replace it with a monster. And, you know, we've got a very, you know, a kind of similar setup, at least a similar start to a movie. Not
a monster's a safe term to use for what was going on there.
But
sorry,
what were you going to say? No, go ahead.
No, I was just when the darkness started coming over the town, I just thought the effect for that was absolutely lovely. Just, you know, the way we saw it was a lovely snowy day, you know, as winter as you could get from wherever they were. I can't remember for the love of me where the actual town was, but with the effect of the dark cloud coming over, to make it an evil Christmas, so to speak, I just thought it was absolutely lovely the way that the effects were done for that.
Yeah, it did look very good. The CGI in this film was pretty kick-ass. And like the storm comes across, you know, and the first creepy thing they really see is Max is looking out the window and there's this super creepy snowman. And then
cool.
more and more snowmen appear as the movie goes on until the end of the film, when they're leaving the house, they open the door and they're like surrounded by creepy ass snowmen. And I thought that was a nice wee touch. It's they only mention it like the once or something, and and that's it. But it was nice. It's good to put those extra wee touches into these movies. And I mean, we certainly saw that he, Michael Doherty in Trick or Treat definitely put the extra touches in. So it's nice seeing him do it again in this as well. It's nice seeing him go kind of that wee step further than he maybe has to. Because let's be honest, those creepy snowmen, they didn't add a whole lot to it, but they just added a tiny wee bit. But it's all these little things that add a tiny bit. It ends up being a lot in the long run, at least in my opinion. So, and speaking of creepy shit, so Krampus brings some toys, which are creepy ass toys.
Is that what you call them? Demons.
They come to life. What did you think of these toys or demons or?
The honest opinion.
Yeah.
The only ones I loved was the gingerbread men. I thought the gingerbread men were kick ass. Okay.
Right.
But the Jack in the Box, what the fuck is what the words cannot describe how much I was freaked out by that. And the fact that it went up the air vents as well was like, how the fuck was that getting up the air vents?
Yeah, I was. I thought the creepy one was like the angel. Was like a tree topper, and it was just psychotic looking.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, those what that actually, the toys coming to life and the gingerbread men coming to life actually kind of remind me like. Did you ever see Small Soldiers when you were younger?
Yes, I did.
So
yes.
it kind of, and it all kind of made me think like Small Soldiers or Gremlins or Critters or shit like that. You got these wee creepy ass things, kind of mischievous.
Ginger demons. Ginger demons is what they were.
So, what did you think about Krampus itself?
Well, see, I actually didn't know this. So this film is not just horror Christmas, it's actually educational as well. Because I did not know there was an anti-Santa Claus story. So I didn't know that at all.
It's a Germanic. You'll know it's Germanic because one of the characters in the movie is German. The grandmother is German, but yeah, it comes from like that region and the myth. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a way to scare little boys and girls. But do you know that Germans don't celebrate like they don't think Santa brings the gifts at Christmas. They think it's baby Jesus. So I thought that was interesting. I mean,
all right, okay.
I don't get it personally. Like, why? What doesn't make any sense to me? Jesus wasn't a baby anymore. but anyway, that's completely different.
Or maybe Jesus morphed into Saint Nicholas, possibly.
I think you've just offended an entire nation of people.
Not at all. I'm just throwing something out there.
But yeah, so what did you think of the way Krampus looked then?
I felt he was kind of big for what. I thought we were going to get more interaction than just his eyes. I think he's
supposed to kind of look like a cross between Santa and a goat, because it's like kind of that's the demonic part. So I mean, I think in general he looked great. I think the makeup team done a great job because I think it was a guy in a suit for most of it.
I think it was. Yeah,
so I think they've done a great job with the exception of one thing, and it was his jaw was always open.
I know nothing was coming out of it.
He never spoke. Which is fine. He doesn't need to speak. But why is his mouth always open all the time? Close your mouth. Close your mouth, man. It's just rude. It's just rude. That's what that is.
I like the shadow story though. I thought the shadow story from the grandmother was wonderful.
Yeah, about them taking her family. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. There were definitely a lot of good stuff in this.
100%.
The general was it's it is a very festive film. This Michael Dougherty clearly excels at making holiday themed horror movies. So for our next holiday special, I'll look and see if he's done any other ones because I'd be up for watching more by
so
him.
You've got Valentine's Day and you've got Easter. So that's the two that we can look out for.
So right, we normally discuss the kills, However, they didn't actually die in this film.
No, there wasn't, was there? There wasn't like specific
or did they
kills
die?
in there.
Like,
No,
I'm
they
not
just got
sure.
taken away.
Like, I don't.
They just got taken away.
Were they taken
I
though, or
felt.
were they killed? Because it is possible that Krampus took them, put them in this snow globe, and collected them. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that he killed them, and it's their souls in this snow globe.
Oh, that puts that in another light then. Definitely.
So, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe he didn't kill them. Maybe he did just take them. But either way, they wind up in a snow globe at the end. So let's go through them being taken, I suppose. Or
okay.
So,
yeah.
So
okay.
Well, actually, we do have one kill who's definite. So Beth, Max's sister, stumbles across the truck driver who is frozen to death in the truck. So we have one definitive dead person. Everyone else may or may not be dead. They were either dead or taken. Either way, will continue. So next we actually have Beth, who was the sister / daughter, and she sees Krampus on the roof, and he jumps from one roof to another, which, by the way, I thought was super cool. Really cool scene. And she hides under the truck, and then we hear her scream. We don't see her get taken. We then had Howie Jr., the cousin, who is
what an asshole,
chained up by a gingerbread man.
Yeah,
and pulled up the chimney.
Yeah, I love how he didn't speak the entire time. All he thought about was his stomach, and
he was a little asshole.
There you go.
There
you go. Yeah, there you go. It was his stomach that got the better of him. So,
we then have Jordan, who was swallowed by the Jack in the Box.
Yeah, that I did like. That is the only part of the Jack in the Box that I like.
We then had Dorothy and the baby, and Howard, who were all yanked away by out the window by the elves and stuff. Howard actually,
I loved it.
Howard ran and jumped at it. Howard was trying to I think he was actually trying to save his baby and stuff, but I mean, it didn't work. He just got yanked out the window with everyone else. No. But you loved the elves, did you?
I loved the elves. I thought the elves were done really, really well. Because we always assume the elves are like how we've ever seen them in previous Santa Claus franchises or films or TV shows. And like Krampus, gave us another perspective on what elves could look like, And no, I thought the costumes were really, really good. At least I hope they were costumes and they weren't CGI characters. I couldn't really tell.
I'm pretty sure they were masks. I think they were prosthetics. Right, okay. I think they were. I think they were people in costumes and prosthetics, which is nice. It's nice. I mean, I'm sure they did use CGI to enhance stuff, but I think the majority of it was actually physical, which is always a nice touch. So we then had Omni, who was Omi, who was the Gran.
Okay. Don't worry, if you butcher it.
She we didn't see it, but Krampus opened his sack and
she got in. Yeah.
We don't know if she got in herself, if she was forced in, but it appears like either way she wound up in Krampus's sack.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a good job here. I do, but I'm not going to make it because.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it for the good of everyone. No one needs to hear that. So,
all right, no problem.
We then had Tom, Linda, and Sarah all being pulled into the snow when they were trying to get to the snowmobile.
Yeah.
They were like pulled in and under. We then had Stevie, who was taken out of the snowplow. And finally, Max was like, "Oi, give me everyone back." And Krampus throws them into like a pit.
And a flaming abyss. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I think everybody may have died. Because, I mean, you don't just get thrown into a flaming abyss and wind up in a snow globe. It's I'm pretty sure when that happens, you die.
So you think he done a Shang Tsung to everybody and just took their soul?
Exactly. That's exactly what I think he done. So
good thing that I remembered all that case.
So
yeah, okay, we'll go with that then. He done a Shang Tsung. That's what we'll go for. He took their souls to keep them in the globe forever. There you go.
If they did kill everyone, then it's 13 deaths, including the truck drivers.
Wow.
So only 12 souls were taken, however. But if he didn't kill everyone, we had one death with the truck driver, and then 12 people were taken. So that's really depends on how you look at it. And the movie ends with everybody, they're sitting around.
They all realised it, didn't
having
they?
a nice Christmas.
Yeah. It was only when Max brought out the bauble.
Yeah, they all started to remember. They're like, shit.
Yeah. Which was cool, creepy at the same time.
And it zooms out, and they're in a snow globe on Krampus's shelf.
And then we see
hundreds of other snow globes. Yeah, I mean, it might have even been more than hundreds, but I thought that was a cool ending. And then all the creepy ass toys in the like jump scare the screen at the very end. Not sure that part was necessary, I've got to say. What I will say is, like, Krampus looked cool and practical. The elves looked cool and practical. All the toys and stuff did look a bit CGI and stuff at a lot of points. I prefer the practical stuff, but I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying. Well, but anyway, I never asked. So, who was your favorite death? I mean, normally
your favorite death.
Yeah.
The first one that got swallowed up
by the Jack in the Box.
Yes, that was my favorite of all. Because in all honesty, they two twins had something coming to them, So they got their comeuppance. Whenever I see a bully getting their comeuppance, Ryan, is very,
you
very
enjoy
fun.
it. Yeah, you find it quite cathartic.
I enjoy it. Yes, definitely, man.
I personally would go with Howie Jr., who was chained up by the gingerbread man and pulled up the chimney.
That's fair. That's fair.
But the only reason I would go for him is because we saw a bit more of it than what we saw with Jordan getting eaten with the Jack in the Box. We came in and saw Jordan's legs, get down.
You would have seen the full thing.
Yes. Yeah. And had we seen the full thing, I probably would agree with you and probably would have given it to her. That's fair. That's fair. But, like I said earlier, the soundtrack in this film is really good because it's like the soundtrack of a classic Christmas movie.
Yes,
and I like
100%.
That. And it really goes a long way to not just making this feel like a horror film with a Christmas skin, but like an actual Christmas film that happens to be horror. It's and I genuinely think that. I think this genuinely feels like a Christmas movie that just so happens to be a horror film, as opposed to.
I just love how it's a think outside the box. As we touched on at the start, I just love how it's a think out of the box kind of Christmas film. Because we have so many feel good Christmas films, and the writers came up with the right idea and went, you know what, this ain't your typical Christmas film.
It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't. But like I say, I think the soundtrack makes it feel like a genuine Christmas movie.
Yeah. Totally.
That just so happens to be horror, which is nice because this time of year, when it's the festive season, I like watching festive films but I also love horror. So it's nice when I've got one that I'm like fits really nicely into, it feels right. Whereas some other Christmas horror, such as Black Christmas and stuff like that, it's like a slasher film first and a Christmas film second. There's like Christmas elements to it, but it's not it doesn't feel as much like a Christmas film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I would say this one, in my opinion, 100% feels like a Christmas movie. So at some point we may actually do every Christmas we'll do a different Christmas movie, a different Christmas horror.
Well, I actually only found out, when you told me we were doing this film, I looked into the research on the films and found out that they have actually done more. They've done more Krampuses.
Are they related though? I don't think they're sequels. I think they're just. But yeah, there's certainly more than one, because I know there's one that's Krampus the Christmas Devil. Because I think that used to be on Netflix as well. I'm not sure if it still is. But either way, yeah, there's definitely other Krampus films. There's Black Christmas films. There's, potentially Scrooged. Would you count Scrooge as a horror with Bill Murray?
I was actually going to say that before we finished up. I would, if anybody's seen Scrooge, I mean, if you haven't, then you're not a Christmas person, obviously. But if you watch Scrooge, an adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and if you watch Jim Carrey's 2009 Christmas Carol, great film. Both of them are they have similar horror aspects to them. Especially
I've not watched the Jim Carrey one, but 100% Scrooge has some horror aspects. That's why I'm like, would you call Scrooge the horror film? I mean, you certainly could. I mean, there's horror elements to it. There's comedy elements to it. There's festive elements to it. It's very, I mean, there's a lot in there, but parts of Scrooge are scary.
Yeah. As a kid, when you're a kid, definitely 100%.
But anyway, we are getting sidetracked. So I suppose we'll just call it there. Do this a bit of a shorter one, because I'm sure everyone has lots of festive stuff to be getting on with, as opposed to looking at our handsome faces.
So I'll tell you what, I'll throw it out there first and give out of stabs, and saying as it's Christmas, and I did really enjoy this film, I'm going to give it a fair 4 stabs.
4 stabs, okay.
4 stabs, being fair. Yeah.
I am going to give it 3.5 stabs.
Okay.
Okay. I did enjoy it, but I mean, it's not a perfect movie. But it's enjoyable, I can't give it more than 3.5 because I didn't think it was good enough to get more than 3.5. But there was nothing wrong with it as such. If that, it's not got much in the way of negatives, just not quite as, pulling me in enough to get a higher grade than that. I do recommend it though. If this time of year, I definitely recommend slamming it on if you're in the mood for something festive, but you still want to watch something with a wee bit of scares in it, and it's funny as well, which is an extra element. It's always nice to watch something with a bit of humor to it too. So yeah, it's funny as well. Not as good as Trick or Treat though. In my opinion, Trick or Treat was better, but maybe I'm just more of a Halloween guy than a Christmas guy. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. If you would like more content from Saint Nick himself, he wiggles his belly like a bowl full of jelly over on his channel, the link of which is in the description. He brings his Christmas sack full of goodies, full of comic books, science fiction, and professional wrestling content. For more horror stuff, stick right here. Join us next week for our New Year's episode, where we will be discussing Terror Train, the 1980 slasher in which Jamie Lee Curtis is stuck in a train with someone trying to kill her. And yeah, click on one of the videos that comes up, click like, let us know in the comments what you thought of Krampus. And as always, like any good killer, we will be back for one last scare.